I actually wasn't planning on seeing it this year, partly because I didn't even know about it until it was in theaters. But, much like the monster himself, Godzilla Minus One burst onto the scene and blew everyone away. I couldn't avoid everyone praising how great it was, so I knew I had to head to the theater and check it out. And am I glad that I did? I did not expect a Godzilla movie to be one of the best movies of the year, but it definitely is. Now before I begin, let me just establish, the only Godzilla movies I've seen are the MonsterVerse ones and the very original one from 1954. So, you know, I'm not a Godzilla guy. But I appreciate the impact the characters had on pop culture. And y'all know what I mean when I say Godzilla guy, right? The people who like Godzilla really go hard for Godzilla. But the thing about Godzilla Minus One is, you really don't have to be a Godzilla guy to appreciate it. In a very rare twist for a giant monster movie, it's actually the human story that really elevates it and makes it something spectacular. It rocks, because it's like a throwback to the original film, which, much like this one, is not a silly movie like the franchise is known for, but rather a more meaningful film. The character itself was created for that film as an allegory for the destructive power of nuclear warfare. Oh, and that's not the only great throwback to the original. The Godzilla design in this one moves a lot more like the old one, and the music is like an updated version of the original's awesome theme, which just gets you so pumped for the action. Speaking of which, the creature effects and the destruction and all that classic stuff is just great. The effects department did a fantastic job considering their budget. And if that's all you came for, you won't be disappointed. Especially because it's not just mindless action, there's real thought put into it. From Godzilla's animal behaviors and sci-fi powers, to all the amazingly clever ways they come up with to fight him off based on what they learn about him. But what makes this movie truly special is the connection you feel to the human characters, and the social commentary it makes. Yeah, for some reason there's been this big talking point from that side of the internet, that Minus One is just a fun movie and there's no woke messages in it. But if you're paying attention, it's very heavily about woke messages. Maybe it goes over some people's heads because you kind of have to go into it with at least some knowledge about Japanese history and culture. And look, I'm no expert on Japan, not by a long shot. But there are some things in this that you at least have to know a little bit of to fully appreciate what the movie's getting across. Like, for example, the main character is a kamikaze pilot who abandoned his mission. Now, not only do you need to know that a kamikaze pilot is somebody whose mission is basically to suicide bomb the enemy, but it's also important to understand that the Japanese government at the time made this out to be something very honorable to do. And they ended up having over 4,000 men in their teens and 20s killing themselves for their country. And this movie uses the arrival of Godzilla shortly after the country has been devastated by World War II as a way to criticize the government for how willing they were to throw away the lives of their citizens to get what they wanted. It makes for a fantastically emotional story that had moments that, in a lesser movie, I would have found really dumb and contrived, but here I found super duper satisfying. Even to the point where I teared up in the climax. I teared up in a Godzilla movie. How wild is that? Well, those are just my thoughts after watching this movie. What'd y'all think? Agree? Disagree? Think I'm stupid? Let me know in the comments. And let me know what you thought of this film. As for me, I say, Godzilla Minus One, more like Gaszilla Minus One. What an unexpected gem.